Howdy, y'all. Voodoo coming at you. A little bit of allergies going on. A little bit chillier than the 60 degrees that I'd prefer. Beard just got pulled by that zipper. Take care of that. Stupid hood thing that won't stay out of my way. There we go. Screw it. We're going to get on cigars today. Mostly because I felt like having a cigar. But we're going to spread some knowledge out here too. Today's little bitty cigar, Punch Classico. They call it the Elite EMS. Not that I'm concerned one way or the other. That's what they call it. So before I get all off into that, howdy Steph, good to see you in today. At least I believe that's probably with a bright and shiny happy face. Hopefully it's not a saddy face, though I do know that you've had some rough licks in the just recent past, and I feel for you. That's right. Birthday dinner is tomorrow? Well, that's all right. You can go and run on over, but I'm going to remind you of one simple little thing. I'm going to be smoking a cigar, so I'll probably still be at it when you get back, if you feel like dropping in again. Just a thought. All right, so cigars. Two ways to get them out. You can either tear them here at the bottom and squeeze them out, or you can wiggle that little cellophane a little bit, and if you pull it at the corners, you can open it just enough that you can squeeze it the other way. Good little trick to know. If you're ever at a cigar shop and you don't have your cutter with you and you don't feel like purchasing one, but you don't really want to take the cigar out of the wrapper, you can open the top, squeeze it up a little bit, just enough so that you can get a punch or a cut on it. Punch acquired. Finished. Then you can slide it back down in there. It's not done a lot, but it's a good little cigar trick. Keep it in mind whenever you're out getting your own cigars. Now, am I smoking the classically, oh my God, you got to have this cigar? No, I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't do much of that on purpose. It's not because I don't like those cigars. Believe me, I like those cigars that I would really love to tell you, oh my God, you gotta go out and try this cigar. But for what I'm doing today, and why I'm doing it, and what I'm going to show you, there's no point in smoking a fantastic cigar. Heck, Black and Mild would work. I wouldn't smoke that personally, but pretty much any cigar would work. I like to clarify that then and also say, if you want it to work at its best and most optimal, an uninfused cigar will work better. Howdy, Martin. So what I've done here, show y'all how I'm collecting. I've got a old tin, but it's got a decent seal, and it's been cleaned out to the point where there's almost nothing left in it. Now, I've used this tin a few times for this process. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that bottom of that tin with the screw lid into a collection plate or ashtray, if you want to look at it that way, for the cigar ashes. I am not putting the cigar out in this. I am doing nothing more than topping the ash off into it. I'm not raking the ash. If it falls in there, that's the way you want it. Because what we're looking for is pipe mud. So real quick, I'm going to get this lit and I'm going to discuss with you what pipe mud is, how to make it, why it does what it does, and the scientifics of why it does what it does. Now, that might seem kind of boring, but if you know why it's actually going to work, you're going to stop feeling as crazy about doing this that sounds completely wrong. Because what is pipe mud? It's cigar ash that's been turned into a paste with some water and spread all over the bottom of your bowl. What? Sounds like you're trying to take something that you're going to smoke out of and spread ashes all over the inside of it? It sounds wrong, right? Well, there's a science and a reasoning behind it, and that's what we're here to do today. I'm going to collect, and we'll discuss. After I'm done with that, we can go anywhere you want to. I do need to turn this flame up. All right. So, cigar ash and pipe ash should be the same thing, right? No. What you're wanting is just a pure, everything in it burnt ash. Now I'm going to give you the boiler understanding of a refractory, which is basically what we're going to be making with pipe mud. Boiler refractory is a substance that is put in place that will eventually wear out, but it wears out a lot slower than the other material. It has excellent heat resistance because there are no compounds in it that will continue to burn. Concrete, and mostly concrete-like substances, are used extensively in boiler refractory. Now, what's used in boiler refractory is actually a whole lot more technical, and they get into that in schools that we're not going there. But take my word for it. If you've burned a cigar to a total ash, there's nothing left in it that's going to burn. So by mixing it with water, creating a paste, and spreading it along the bottom and sides of the bowl, you've got a sticky substance that's going to not burn. Well, if you're not using a meerschaum or a clay, your cobs and your briars can burn. And over time, reheat, it will eventually burn out. How long it's going to take? Well, that depends upon you and your rate of smoking and how hot you smoke. I mean, there's a lot of factors there. But even the best briar, not taken care of, will eventually burn. No wood substance is completely fire resistant. Briar just takes a little while longer to burn because the grain. So what we're doing, by collecting it in this tin, I can collect, but if I smoke 2 cigars a week, I can collect a tin worth easily every month. A tin will do more than one pipe, unless they're absolutely enormous. But the reason why you want cigar ash and not pipe ash is because there tends to be little bits of tobacco left over when you smoke your pipe. When you go to dump it out, well, those little bits get in there and they're still burnable. And if you're spreading that and it's under the refractory, it will actually pop the refractory off. Pipe mud is refractory, rudimentary, but short of me explaining exactly how to build a perfect refractory layer, which is too expensive for something as small as a pipe. I'm going to spend about $1,000 to make a refractory for a $30 cob. Dare you? Let's just say it. You're not going to get all the materials cheap. Sure, you can get plenty enough to do every cob that you'll ever have for the rest of your life. Storage and usage would be waste of time and money alone. Much easier to get a cigar, enjoy a cigar, and keep the ash. Again, you're not trying to rake the ash off, you're just trying to let it fall into the tin. So you just kind of hold it around where you're smoking. I like to use a tin instead of my normal ashtrays. Normal ashtrays, I'll put a cigar out in. Afterwards, you're trying to tilt a big tray and pour it into a small something that you can save. Also, I like to use a lid that has somewhat of a seal because ash will stink. As it falls apart and turns more to a dust-like substance, ash will release a certain amount of an odor. If it's inside of a sealed tin, always going to know. Most pipe smokers I know have 2 or 3 tins laying around somewhere. If you ask Eric Weaver at Sea Smoke Pipes, I guarantee he knows about refractory. Got to use that in your kiln when you're doing pottery. Don't have a good refractory, you can't contain the heat well. You'll never get that pottery nice and hard the way it should be. There's more to it than just the refractory. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, you can add this or that or the other to pipe mud. Realistically, best case scenario, and you have to do this by eye, there's no exact ratio. Cigar ash and distilled water. That's as close to H2O as you're going to get. And you let it form a paste. A little bit thicker than, say, Elmer's glue. And you just kind of spread it along. Now, it's used a lot in corncob pipes. But you can use it in regular briar pipes also. Just remember, if you're going to use it, either use it before you've ever smoked it at all, or go back and really, really clean the char layer off of that pipe. That char layer is closer to being burnt. Therefore, the refractory is not going to do what it's supposed to do, which is protect the substances underneath. And again, for the purposes of getting pipe mud, you can smoke the fanciest, best cigar in the freaking planet, and you will not get better pipe mud than my little $5 punch from the grocery store. Things to avoid if your cigar is canoeing, meaning that it is burning at more than like a 30-degree angle. Watch that type of a cigar. It's not rolled well. It's possible that some of the leaf will end up into your pipe mud collection. Again, that's just going to create weak spots in the quote-unquote refractory. Howdy, Todd. Glad you could make it in. So Todd, in case you've missed it, and I think you did most of it, I've got an empty tin, cleaned it out real well. I'm collecting cigar ash to make pipe mud. And if you want to go back, I pretty well explained it all really well already, but it just comes down to you really want to be able to just cigar ash and distilled water turned into a paste spread around on cobs and briars. Now, when you're going to do pipe mud, make sure you have a pipe cleaner already inserted all the way from your stem all the way into the bowl. The reason for this is pretty simple. You get that pipe mud and you get it accidentally pushed into the draft hole, you're going to be working. You better have a long, basically exactly right shaped piece of wire, because you're going to have to chip it out of there. So much easier to just go ahead and have a pipe cleaner already inserted. Once you're done putting your pipe mud in there as best you can, push forward, pull back. It's that simple. Now, when I said you put the pipe cleaner all the way in, make it so that you let it enter the bowl, just a fraction. You pull it back to where you just can't see it. And that's when you do your pipe mud. And then, like I said, you push in and then you pull it back out. And yes, I made the mistake of doing a cob, and I didn't put the pipe cleaner in there, and I let it harden, and I went to try and smoke it and couldn't get air out of the damn thing because it got a nasty little chunk of mud in that damn stem, and there it was. I had to work on it a while. Finally got it to work, but still. Why send you to do something that I already know you can avoid? All right, so there it was. That's how to collect pipe mud. If you do happen to see any pieces that have a leaf or black fleck that looks like it might be still burnable, this is the time to just reach in with your finger and get that one or two specks out of there. Again, you want it to be just ash. Just trying to save you a bunch of time, a bunch of energy, and a bunch of money. Hey, what do I know? I was only a boiler inspector. I obviously don't understand the whole process behind refractory. All right. So I promised that I wasn't going to stay on this exact topic forever, but if anybody's got questions, go ahead, ask them. I'll be glad to get back to this subject if you need it. Again, tin with a lid, cigar only, ash only, distilled water into a paste, about like Elmer's. And I would suggest applying it with a pipe cleaner. You want a small a little bit more on the very bottom and right near the draft hole than anywhere else, but anywhere you put it is going to be a little bit more protected. And then wait until it dries before you smoke the pipe, please. Shame to go through smoking a cigar and not collecting a little bit of ash for pipe mud. If you're going to smoke a pipe. Most people that follow this channel do, so. All right. So let me talk about some things that I've seen going on just recently. Eric Weaver, smoke pipes and pottery. He's got a 600 sub and 2-year GAW going on. I, unfortunately, can't think of a damn thing that I can do to get entered into his GAW. You'll have to make a VR. What he wants to know is about things that you collect, other than pipes and pipe paraphernalia. Something else. My number one in collections is knowledge. Norris, cigars really kind of is my thing. I was into cigars way before I was really into pipes. I only used pipes as a way to finish off cigars for a long, long time. And then it kind of moved into where I actually sort of kind of liked pipes. And then I met Phil from the Briar Report. Well, at least online I met him. He said I should make a blog even though I can't freaking write. So I did. And, well, here I am now. Ugly as always. Huva Ilta, Boris. Glad to see that my international people are awake and alive. Right, Norris? Well, I used to collect some things, but here where I live, my storage unit flooded out during the Hurricane Harvey event in Houston. Yeah. Everything I collected it's gone now. But the one thing that I've collected that can't be taken away other than killing me is knowledge. I got a lot of it. It's because I'll find almost any subject interesting. And then I start looking into it. Start reading about it. Start trying to figure out what in the heck's actually going on with it. Somebody will ask me a question, and then I'll answer, I don't know. And as soon as I've answered, I don't know, it's going to eat at me until I can find some sort of an answer. 20 minutes of knowledge. Unfortunately, sometimes it's just useless knowledge. I don't know what to tell you. And I hate to prattle on like a damn know-it-all. I don't know everything. What I do know about it's because I've studied. A lot of it's because I've listened to people who were more knowledgeable on the subject than I was. Yes, Martin, you definitely do collect live stream viewers. But you haven't taken a phone call in a while, damn it. Everybody starts betting and then nobody wants to hear a phone call. Went out to eat for breakfast. What'd you have, Todd? If you were anywhere near I-40 or below and you went to eat breakfast, if you didn't go to the Waffle House, you screwed up. If you're north of I-40, well, I can't blame you for not going to Waffle House. There's only a few. I think Martin will back me up on the going to Waffle House for breakfast food, though. Ah, I knew my comment would get to him. It's hard to be a first-time caller if nobody's able to even open up the phone lines. Uh-huh. Right, Martin. Nobody is just going to buy Waffle House hash browns unless they've had Waffle House hash browns. And the only way to have Waffle House hash browns is to go into the damn yellow and black building, sometimes referred to as the Awful Waffle. On a different live stream, I will discuss with all of you how to order my favorite breakfast. And if you walked in and you said exactly what I tell you to say, they would think you're a pro and they would get it out to you just as quickly as they could. Bellinis with chopped onion, smetana, it's a type of sour cream, okay, and trout eggs. Man, I could tear that up. That doesn't sound bad at all. You had me at chopped onion. Martin, I promise I'm trying to get you new people. I invite cigar crowd and pipe crowd all the time. You know, the people that I've never seen in there. And what am I supposed to tell you? People are set in their ways. They don't understand an hour and a half of malfunction and how epically awesome it is. I know. I know. Martin opened a Twitter profile. You can follow him at Over a Pipe, just like his YouTube channel profile. What you're going to get if you follow him is you're going to get tweets of, hey, I'm putting this video out. Come and watch it. I've told him that's the best option for him if he didn't really want to have Twitter, but to put Twitter on there just to bring more people in. If you got a video that you just put up, it's not really a scheduled thing, and you just want people to actually notice it, you push it out there and say, okay, bye, see you. And then you get your friends to retweet it if you can. And then you go to Dell and your computer crashes like the Hindenburg, and oh, the humanity. So I'm going to tell you a somewhat funny story. Back in high school, went to this school-sponsored party. Not really a dance, but not saying that there wasn't dancing. Of course, it was high school, so there was no drinking. It was right around Halloween, just something to do. Well, they decided they were going to have a candied apple eating competition. And the first person called up was a girl. And then they called 6 guys. I happened to be one of the guys that got called. Now, the first person up was a girl. She got handed an apple. The rest of us came up basically as a group, and we all just took what was left. 7 people. Candied apple eating competition. $50 on the line. They said go. I took a bite and realized immediately that it was a caramel covered onion. And that's when they knew they backfired. They fully expected everybody that was eating an onion, which was all 6 guys, to start just like, oh, hell no, this ain't going to happen. I grew up, sliced onion right on the table. You'd take a whole slice and eat it with your meal. It's just what it was. It's the way it was in my house. Howdy again, Todd. So there I am eating a caramel-covered onion. And I just power right through it because it's actually easier to eat an onion than it is to eat an apple. I have never had Chieftain tobacco. Sorry, Norris, I honestly can't. Anybody else on here has had Chieftain tobacco? Please speak up. Good question. I am going to look into it and find out a little bit about it, but as of right now, I don't know enough to tell you one thing about it at all. Other than the name is Chieftain. And that's because you told me it was Chieftain. Oh, yeah. So, anyways, yes, I did get $50 for eating a candied onion. It could be a new brand. It might be a redo of an old brand. Okay, so Norris, it's not popular in. It's not popular in Norway or Finland. Probably not Sweden either. I've seen a lot of products from Norway and Sweden and Finland that are very, very similar. I guess those borders are somewhat not super regulated, where they've got people with machine guns waiting to gun you down, and people are willing to use the regular ways of crossing the border there. Best I can tell you. I've not actually been there. German-based. Okay. Chieftain is German-based. Like I said, I'll look into it. It's going to be pretty interesting. So for anybody who missed out earlier, I'm still collecting the cigar ash to make pipe mud. Remember, just use cigar ash, don't use pipe ash. You want it to be as purely ash and water as possible. And if you missed out and you still want to learn, watch the first 20 minutes of this in rewind, and I basically explain the whole science behind it. I stay pretty basic. It's for spreading on the bottoms of pipes, bottoms and sides. It forms what's known as a refractory layer, which helps keeping your pipe from burning out. It's actually really important if you're going to be smoking cobs. In fact, I almost always suggest going ahead and mudding a cob before you smoke it the first time. I don't always do that my own self, but I suggest it. And if you tend to smoke hot, or you just get real vigorous with your puffing, internal walls. You spread it on the inside. Just make sure you don't plug up the draft hole. And you want it to be a little bit thicker than, say, Elmer's glue when you're trying to apply it. Basically, turn the ashes into a mud. I'm not sure what a tandoor is, but I've heard the term before. Yes, basically you are creating a small, it's not really clay, but yes, you are creating a layer of an unburning substance that sticks to your pipe. Most clays don't burn, so Yes, pretty much. And I've found that if you collect it in a tin that has a lid that has a seal on it, when you store it until you're ready to use it, it's not going to come open, and it's not going to create any smells that anybody who might be offended by the scent of cigar ash, which does have a smell. Yes, it does. But pretty much one cigar should do about one pipe. Yes, if you've got a divot or a sand pit or a hidden fissure that when you first bought the pipe, you didn't see it. It obviously wasn't seen when it was sold to you. You take that cigar ash, you make the pipe mud, you really kind of just push it in there. If you know exactly where, and you're trying to work a divot or a pit, you can push it in with your finger. If you're just trying to paint the whole bowl, just kind of smear it on with a pipe cleaner, which helps you get down into the smaller corners. And then you, of course, you want to let it dry real well before you smoke out of it. That's to let the water evaporate, and for this stuff to basically turn into, it almost turns into a rock or a concrete type layer. So yes, just you get it as a thick paste. And side advantage, you get to smoke a cigar. If you don't like cigars,
Stop looking at me.
Find somebody who actually does like cigars. Get them to smoke one and just put it in a tin for you. Again, I don't suggest using it on clay or meerschaum pipes. You're not doing any good with clay or meerschaum. Meerschaum is actually a clay anyhow. Well, it's part of why I collect knowledge. I try to give that knowledge back in easy to consume chunks. Try. Sometimes I go too far. Oh, and don't mix your mud directly in your tin. Just kind of put it on a small plate, paper plate type thing when you're making your paste. You're just going to throw it out anyways. You can always reuse the tin, and you can keep adding to cigar ash if you're just collecting the cigar ash. It's one of the least talked about pipe knowledge things, or at least in my opinion, it's the least talked about. Maybe it should be talked about a little more, but it's kind of a boring subject. You can learn all you need to learn inside of 20 minutes. there's a lot of science that goes into it if you wanted to study like refractory and stuff like that, but unless you're doing something with boilers, you're probably not going to be that interested in refractory. Ooh, that's still hot. In case you're wondering what got me going on it, I did find a small little, I think it's probably just a sand pit that's come open in my ugly pipe that I've been reworking. So yeah, I'm gonna mud it up. Just remember, if it's really, really close to the airway, the stem, you want to make sure to have a already inserted pipe cleaner so that you can push any of that mud back out into the bowl. Dried mud in your stem shank, going to ruin your pipe, or it's going to leave you chipping away at it with a check tool. Save you time. Any other questions on cigars, pipes, general knowledge, whatever? Again, I'm sorry I didn't know about Chieftain tobacco, but I will look it up. And it could be that it's not available in the United States, just like certain tobaccos are only available in the United States, such as Escudo. Ship per week to Denmark, so you can ship it back to the United States. Seems kind of funny. Well, it seems like I'm taking this conversation just about as far as I can take it. I'm going to save some stuff for Friday and for Thursday, so not trying to cram too much knowledge down anybody's throat. So I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. As per normal, y'all take care of yourselves, take care of each other, do the best you can. As always, long lives, big bowls, and long ashes. Y'all take care, and I'll see you soon.